Welcome, dear one. Before you fall asleep, subscribe. Let's begin. In the heart of an ancient whispering forest, where the trees stood tall like watchful guardians of time, there lived a quiet world, untouched by haste or worry. This was the evergreen forest, vast, lush, and evergreen all year round, bathed in emerald light by day and deep indigo shadows by night. The creatures who called this forest home moved with grace and rhythm, as if the wind itself taught them how to breathe and dance. Among them, nestled in a cozy burrow beneath the roots of an old cedar tree, lived a wise old hare named Bramble. Bramble wasn't just any hare. He was known through the forest as the keeper of time. Not the time measured by ticking clocks or winding gears, but the time whispered in falling leaves, shifting stars, and the slow blooming of moss on stone. Every creature, small or tall, feathered or furred, came to Bramble when they felt something stirring in the air. A change, a dream, or a mystery too strange to understand. And tonight, there was something stirring. The moon had risen round and silver, floating just above the treetops, like a lantern in the sky, casting soft light over the forest floor, making the dew sparkle and the sleeping petals sigh. But it wasn't just another quiet night. No, tonight the stars were humming, and Bramble had noticed. He sat just outside his burrow, paws folded, eyes reflecting the sky like little mirrors. He twitched his whiskers thoughtfully, listening, not with ears, but with something deeper. And then, slowly, he nodded. It was time. Farther down the winding forest paths, over a brook that sang to itself in gurgling tunes, under a canopy of silver-tipped pines, the other forest dwellers began to stir too. In a hollowed log dappled with lichen, wren, the songbird blinked open her eyes. She felt it, a soft, ticklish pull at her heart, like the wind calling her name in a forgotten tune. She stretched her wings and sang a single sleepy note. It drifted like smoke through the air, and somewhere nearby, Fox stirred in his den. Fox, with his russet fur and clever golden eyes, yawned, a deep yawn that seemed to echo through the trees. He felt it too, the gentle urging to rise, to walk beneath the moonlight toward something. He didn't know what, but he trusted it, for in the evergreen forest, instinct was never wrong. From the high cliffs where owls watched the world, from the low thickets where mice whispered lullabies, from the cool water where frogs dreamed with open eyes, all around the forest the creatures began to rise. It wasn't loud. There was no rush, no panic, only stillness and a pull, like the forest had taken a deep breath and was exhaling something ancient into the world. One by one, the creatures made their way through winding paths, stepping over roots and stone, guided only by starlight and trust. None of them spoke, not because they couldn't, but because they didn't need to. The quiet carried everything that needed to be said. Back near the clearing, Bramble waited. He had lit tiny lanterns made from hollowed acorns and firefly light, and they glowed like warm little suns in the moss. He nodded as each friend arrived, Fox with his patient eyes, Wren fluttering quietly onto a branch, Badger with his soft, slow footsteps, squirrel twitching with curiosity, deer stepping gracefully like a shadow made of silk. They gathered in a circle, not a perfect one, but a living one shaped by the forest itself. Bramble looked around. All here, he whispered. Not a voice replied, but many hearts answered, beating gently in the hush of night. He tilted his ears. There's a message in the wind. Tonight, he said softly, and the moon is listening. The wind rustled the leaves in answer, swirling low to brush their fur and feathers, carrying with it a scent, sweet, earthy, and old. It smelled like memory. Bramble closed his eyes. It has begun again, he whispered. The others did not ask what. They had heard tales, tales told in the rustling of grass, tales hidden in the patterns of raindrops on bark. Once every long while, when the moon rose just so, and the stars thrummed in harmony, the forest remembered something, something it wanted to share, but it never did so in words. No, the forest spoke in dreams, and tonight those dreams would be planted. One by one, Bramble gave each animal a tiny pine cone, no bigger than a thimble, but shimmering faintly in the lantern light, as if it held more than just seeds. These are dream cones, he said. You'll carry them home. Place them under your beds, beneath your nests, beside your paws, or tucked beneath your wings. And when you sleep, the forest will speak. Wren cocked her head. Fox narrowed his eyes with curiosity. Even Sleepy Bear, who had wandered in last and yawned every 5 minutes, held his cone with gentle care. But Bramble, asked a squirrel, her voice small like a leaf drifting in the wind. What will we see in our dreams? Bramble looked at her kindly. Not what you see, little one, he said, but what you remember. The forest is old, older than any of us, and within its roots are memories of when stars first sang, of when rivers were young, of when the sky and earth were still learning each other's names. And sometimes, he continued, it chooses to remind us. The animals grew quiet again. Even the breeze seemed to hush, as if bowing before something sacred. Then, slowly, the lanterns began to flicker, not out of fear, but with the softness of a sigh. The fireflies within had finished their glow. That was the signal. Each animal tucked their dream cone safely against their chest or in a small pouch, and one by one they returned to their homes. No one hurried, no one looked back, because they knew this was only the beginning. Back beneath his cedar tree, Bramble watched the stars. The forest was still again, but now it thrummed with a quiet, unseen energy. Soon, very soon, the dreams would begin, and when they woke, they would remember something lost, something beautiful, something true. And as you rest now, perhaps your own heart hears it too. That gentle whisper between trees, that hush of forgotten songs, that ancient memory wrapped in moss and moonlight. So close your eyes, let your breath slow, and imagine the quiet creatures returning to their nests, curling into sleep with the tiny glowing cones beside them. The stars hum softly above. The forest sighs, and somewhere, just outside of time, the dreams begin. The forest was quieter now than it had been all season. A sacred kind of stillness blanketed the earth, gentler than a snowfall, softer than a lullaby. Above the canopy, the moon watched like a kind guardian, her pale light spilling through the branches in long silver threads. And below, nestled in dens, hollows, and cozy corners, the creatures of the evergreen forest finally slept. But their dreams, had just begun. Wren, small and feathery, lay tucked beneath her wing in her high branch. Next to her, nestled in a tiny woven cradle of twigs. The dream cone pulsed softly, glowing like moonlight held in a drop of dew. Her breath slowed, her feathers ruffled once, and then settled, and slowly the edges of sleep took her. At first, there was only mist, soft and rolling, a gentle white haze that wrapped around her like a warm cloud. Then, faint music, like water over stones, and a scent of blooming wildflowers in spring. Suddenly, Wren found herself standing, not flying, on a wide open field. But she was not small now. No, she was tall and light as air, her wings long and gleaming with patterns of stars. The sky above was painted in hues of soft rose and lavender, and the trees in the distance shimmered with golden leaves. She took a step, and the ground sang beneath her talons. Each blade of grass glowed briefly at her touch. She felt no fear, only wonder. Then a whisper, like a breath on her feathers. Not a voice, not really, but something deeper. You are older than you remember. Wren blinked. She turned toward the voice but saw no one, only the wind curling around her gently, guiding her toward a grove of glowing trees. She walked into the grove, and as she passed each tree, it shimmered with soft images, memories, perhaps, a chick cracking from an egg, a mother's song drifting on the breeze, a storm weathered beneath leaves, a friendship formed in the hush of twilight. Wren didn't know if they were her memories, but they felt true. They felt like hers, even if they belonged to the forest too. Back in his den, Fox dreamed as well. He lay curled in his nest of leaves, the dream cone resting near his nose, its faint glow casting long, sleepy shadows along the burrow walls. As sleep took him, he felt a pull, not downward, but outward, like he was drifting on a stream of starlight. In his dream, the forest was endless, each tree taller than mountains, each leaf the size of a kite. Fox walked slowly through towering trunks, his fur brushed by vines that hummed with life. The world felt stretched, not in size, but in meaning. Time was thick here. Each step he took echoed like a heartbeat. Through centuries of memory, he paused beside a crystal-clear pool, and when he looked in, he saw not his own reflection, but many versions of himself. Foxes of red, gray, and silver, young, old, running, resting. And then the surface shimmered. The water spoke, not in words, but in ripples and colors. You are the thread between moments. Fox did not understand, but he didn't need to. His heart did, and that was enough. In the deepest part of the forest, beneath a patch of moss that glowed faintly blue, Badger slept soundly, his great belly rising and falling. His dream began in a tunnel, long and winding, lined with roots like ribbons. He padded through it slowly, his pause never tiring, his breath deep and steady. At the end of the tunnel was a cavern, but not dark or frightening. It sparkled with crystals, each one chiming like wind bells. Badger stepped inside and felt something like warmth and weight settle over him. It was the memory of Earth, of planting seeds, of protecting young ones, of holding stories in silence. A voice echoed gently from the walls, low and deep like stone. You are the keeper of roots. Badger bowed his head. He understood. All across the evergreen forest, the creatures dreamed, and in each dream, the forest whispered back something sacred, something known but long forgotten. Even Squirrel, restless and curious, found herself floating through a dreamscape of spiraling tree limbs, each one branching into another and another, like a never-ending song of growth and surprise. She bounced from branch to branch, laughing in her sleep, feeling joy ripple through her tail and toes. You are the spark, the leaves whispered to her, the joy that moves the stillness. In another glade, deer stood in a meadow of silver grasses, each blade humming a soft note. She walked among them slowly, each step in rhythm with the stars above. You are the path, said the breeze. Back beneath his cedar tree, Bramble did not sleep. Not yet. He sat with his eyes closed, his dream cone resting in his paws, not glowing but pulsing, like it was waiting for the right moment. He listened, not with his ears, but with his whole being. He felt the forest dreaming through him, through every root, every leaf, every living thing, and far beyond the trees, past the mountains, past the stars, something ancient stirred. The forest was remembering, and in doing so, it was awakening something new. When Bramble finally lay down, nestled in the soft earth, his dream did not come as images, but as music, low at first, like a hum beneath the world, then rising, layered with soft voices, distant drums, the call of owls, and the breath of rivers. He dreamed of a time long ago when animals and trees and stars spoke the same language, a time when dreams were not separate from waking, but danced together like wind and flame. And as he slept, his body still, his spirit moved through the song of the forest, collecting pieces of stories, weaving them into threads that would guide them all towards something waiting just beyond the next full moon, something old, something true. And even now, as you rest in your own quiet space, as your breath grows slower, your limbs heavier, you might feel it too, that gentle pull, the soft hum of something greater, the forest whispering its stories across time, just waiting for you to listen. So breathe. Let your own dream cone glow softly in your heart, and drift into that place where stories grow, where moonlight bends to kiss your thoughts, and each dream is a seed planted in the soil of night. The forest held its breath. Night had settled deep into the bones of the world. The stars blinked gently overhead, soft as lullabies, distant as memories. And yet, all was still very much alive. The creatures of the evergreen forest, though tucked into their sleep, were traveling, each through the dream path laid before them. They were not separate now. Their dreams had braided together like streams meeting in the hush of a moonlit glen, and somewhere within that shared dream, they were walking side by side. Wren was the first to sense it, the dream shift. She felt her wings brush the air again, only now the sky above her shimmered like a mirror lake, and beneath her paws, yes, paws now, was soft moss. She looked to her left and saw Fox. His eyes were brighter than starlight, but calm as twilight fog. He nodded to her, and she smiled. To her right, Deer stepped forward, her hoofs silent. Squirrel zipped ahead, laughing through the branches. Badger lumbered at the rear, his steps slow and steady, while Bramble batted quietly in the center. They were all there, awake in a dream. Together, none of them spoke, not with words. They didn't need to. They were being guided gently toward a circle of ancient stones. In the heart of the forest, place older than memory, older than names. The stones pulsed with light from within, like they too were dreaming. In the center of the circle sat a single tree. Its bark shimmered in hues of silver and green, and from its branches hung tiny glowing pods, each one swaying gently, whispering a song only dreams could understand. Bramble stepped forward. He placed the dream cone at the base of the tree, and as he did, something stirred, not loudly, not suddenly, but like mist rising off warm earth. The dream cones the others had carried appeared one by one, floating gently to the tree's roots, nestling into the soil like seeds. Then came the light, not bright, not harsh, but soft, layered like sunrise behind clouds, like morning seen through sleep's heavy eyes. The tree glowed gently, and from its roots spread a warmth that touched each of them in turn. Wren felt her feathers quiver. Fox's ears twitched as if hearing an old lullaby. Deer lowered her head, peaceful and proud. Squirrel's tail curled gently around her. Badger closed, his eyes, his breath deep and steady. And Bramble felt the forest speak, not in words, but in meaning. A feeling passed through them, one of belonging, of remembering, of understanding that the dream was never just a dream. They had been called, gathered not simply to rest, but to remember the deeper song of the forest, to carry it back. And so, as the light faded from the tree, and the dream cone settled back into stillness, each creature felt a change, something gentle, something lasting. They turned quietly and left the stone circle, returning to their own paths within the dream, their spirits light, their hearts full. Wren found herself floating again, this time through a sky of shifting stars. Each twinkled softly as she passed, offering small, wordless blessings. Fox padded through a meadow that shimmered with dew, the scent of wild mint and cedar filling his nose. Badger returned to his tunnel of memories, but now the walls sang softly to him, reminding him of all that had been and all that would be. Deer crossed a bridge of moonlight, each step echoing like poetry. Squirrel curled in a nest woven of starlight and laughter, finally, joyfully still. And Bramble found himself walking not alone, but hand in paw with the forest itself, each step soft, each breath easy, and slowly, Gently, the dream softened, the lights dimmed, the voices faded. Each creature slowly stirred in their sleep, not to wake, not just yet, but to rest deeper, to sink further into peace. Above, the moon began its descent, and the forest sighed contentedly beneath its fading light. The wind carried no urgency, only softness, only stillness. And as you lay here now, your body still and your breath calm, you may feel a part of you walking there too, through the dream forest, beside the whispering trees, among friends you've never met, but somehow always known. The world is quieter now, time is slow, and the dream continues, not as a story you're watching, but as a story you're part of. So rest now. Feel the rhythm of the forest, heart matching your own. Let each breath be a lullaby, each heartbeat a step. Further into gentle, silvery night, the evergreen forest sleeps, and so do you, until morning finds you, wrapped in light, rested, safe, and whole. Good night, dreamer, and may your dreams carry you gently onward.